He's been a fixture of the Irish wrestling scene since day one. The owner of NLW and Heel Turn Ireland, and the former owner of OTT. He is Jamie Coleman, Irish wrestling's top historian, and he's bringing his wrestling friends back in time on the Lobos Network to discuss the moments in wrestling that made him a fan in Hot Tag Time Machine.
Welcome to Hot Tag Time Machine. It's the brand new podcast here on the Lobos Network. My name is Jamie Coleman. This is the debut episode, and I am joined by Lobos founder Rick Nash today, and he will act as my co-host because I do not have a co-host, and I'm hoping to find a co-host. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a revolving door of co-hosts. So Rick was here and nobody else was, so Rick is therefore my co-host for today. So Rick, how are you?
I love the position of being the default co-host. It's just we couldn't find anyone else, so Rick's here.
You just happen to be here and you have all the equipment, so it seemed like a no-brainer to make you the co-host today. I showed up with no co-host.
Happy to be default, number one.
So listen, let's just briefly cover what this is going to be. Some people may have heard me talk on Jerry's Talk Nerdy to Me podcast about what we're doing, but basically what we're doing here is this is a nostalgic view, a nostalgic podcast on wrestling. It's an excuse for me to talk about the wrestling I loved when I was growing up, and also an excuse for me to plug some stuff. So that's let's be honest, that's what it is. So we won't start with the plugs just yet, but they are coming.
Oh, so, you just wait.
Calm your tits, they're coming. But yeah, we're basically just going to cover some nostalgia. This is an excuse for me to talk about wrestling that I grew up watching from the age of 7 to sort of mid-teens when I phased out of it a little bit. So we called it Hot Tag Time Machine, which is a play on Hot Tub Time Machine. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to call it Wrestling Ring Time Machine, but Rick was like, nah, we go for Hot Tag Time Machine. So let's see if you like that name.
We could throw it back. It'd be very expensive. We have to get Jade to redo the graphics.
I'd be waiting 6 years on Jade to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But no, that's basically what it is. It's just a look down. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to pick random topics, random events, random periods in time, probably starting around late 80s into early 2000s. And there's a vast amount of stuff to cover. It's like reeling in the years. But as Rick pointed out, if we did do reeling in the years, we'd have about 10 or 11 shows, and then we'd have to call it quits. Because after 2002, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what went down. So this is an introduction show. It may be shit. It may be fantastic. I don't really know. But let's just start, Rick, and let's delve into it. Briefly, I should probably introduce myself, because people probably know you because you own the joint, but people don't know who I am. So I'm nobody really. I'm just Jamie Coleman. I've been around the Irish wrestling scene a long time, which kind of gives me the right to sit here and talk to people. I think my claim to fame is that I'm best friends with Joe Cabray. Is that okay?
That's
that okay?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But I'm also best friends with Justy.
Yeah.
So it's I love Justy. So basically I've been around the wrestling scene a long time. I was heavily involved with the first Irish whip wrestling shows with Simon Rochford at the very beginning, when we had Jake the Snake and those shows. And then myself and Joe Cabray, we started No Limit Wrestling in 2006. We started American Wrestling Rampage in 2008. I still run No Limit Wrestling to this day. Joe, of course, runs OTT Wrestling, and I also have IrishWrestlingTees.com. I suppose we are doing the plugs now.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Because I'd like you to buy some tickets for No Limit Wrestling and buy some T-shirts off Irish Wrestling Tees. So IrishWrestlingTees.com is where we sell T-shirts for wrestlers in Ireland.
Hence the name.
Exactly, yeah. It's on a much smaller scale than the Pro Wrestling Tees formula in America. But and Heel Turn Apparel is the clothing brand based on wrestling that we started as well. So that's all for sale there. So if you wouldn't mind buying some stuff so I could put some shoes on my kid, that'd be great.
Literally, a child walking around shoeless in the background here. Help!
Well, he doesn't even walk, so I don't know what I'm trying. Maybe
is that someone else's child? Oh,
yeah.
I was sure
that's just a random child.
We should probably do something about that.
Yeah, probably tell someone there's a kid walking around here,
taping a
no shoes.
here.
But so that's leave that kid. He's grand. We just talk about wrestling, and he'll go. Like, we won't worry about it. So that's who I am. We know who Rick is. And this is my new podcast, so I presume at this point you've already played the music.
Yeah, no, the music's played.
This isn't like, an episode of Nitro where they just go to the commentators and then play the intro.
We had pyro at the start and all.
The whole
lot.
Lot?
Great. Yeah,
great,
full 90s style. Yeah.
That's it. And that's what we're here to talk about, is 90s wrestling. So if you love 90s wrestling, you're going to love this. So today we are basically, we're going to start with like a topic which is only been discussed because Rick is the only person here, and he told me that he likes 1999. So that's where we're going to start today, with 1999. But we're not going to do the whole of 1999 because I have to go home. So we're going to do the first quarter of 1999. And for this, I got up early and watched some 1999 stuff.
Fair play.
But we're also going to talk about the current wrestling scene. We're going to talk about, it's not going to be all it's not going to be all stroking Steve Austin's dick or anything. It's just going to be like
a lot of that, but not all
a little bit. Like, but there's going to be like random just chats as well about today's wrestling, about Irish wrestling, about today's product, WWE. We're not going to really talk about Japanese wrestling, are we, Rick?
No, I don't think so.
Because I don't know what goes on there. Like.
I think people might enjoy listening to you trying to pronounce names. So if you want to...
John Moxley.
There you go. That's
easy.
It. Covered.
Easy. But no, people don't want to hear me. I delved a little bit into Japanese wrestling when I was buying tapes back in the 90s.
The old days.
Yeah, but like beyond that, like I just never had. I used to be on Eurosport as well when in 94, and so I know who Jushin Thunderliger is.
Yeah.
And I know who Road Warrior Hawk is because he was there.
That's pretty much it. You got it covered. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. So there we go.
It's all a lot of hot air apart from that. Like
I know wrestling.
John Moxley.
I know that there's kind of I know there's big shit goes on there, but I'm so like bad at like the fight TV apps and all that stuff, like that I don't know how to watch it. I don't know how to watch it. Like I've clicked like on a New Japan Pro Wrestling page and I see highlights. But I don't know who those people are because I can't turn the sound up because the baby's always asleep.
Shit.
So like, and I've lost.
It'll
my
be Japanese commentary as well, like so. It'll just be confusing if anything. Like.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, so I don't know who it is. Well, I think would I not hear Jim Ross?
They have Kevin Kelly. He does commentary.
Kevin Kelly from the 90s.
The 90s, yeah.
I love Kevin Kelly from the 90s. I love him.
He's not Kevin Kelly from the 90s now, though. He's really nerdy Kevin Kelly.
I thought Kevin Kelly done Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's now he's like serious Kevin Kelly. It's not Kevin Kelly being made fun of by The Rock for having snots.
Oh, okay.
It's not the Kevin Kelly I love. He's actually much better. Like he seems happier, but
he's a happier man now.
Yeah, he's not getting bullied, but like we don't like that as much. We like the Kevin Kelly.
No, I never liked the bullying.
No,
you
weren't
that's
a fan
what
of that.
Straight into it. I didn't like I always thought The Rock was a prick.
Okay,
don't bully these little lads.
Right.
DX used to bully Michael Cole an awful lot. Don't do that.
Right.
Like, that's bad form. I never enjoyed that.
All right.
Certain things, like I'm a very, very, like I feel sorry for people. Like just that, like I feel sorry for you.
Right.
Just because the way you look, like that.
That's fair. I get that a
but
lot.
No, I'm only joking. You're a handsome man. But no, I feel like I feel sorry for people that, for any reason. You give me any reason to feel sorry for someone. Like I remember, like I wanted to break up with a girlfriend once, and my ma said to me, and that was enough for me to go, yeah, you're right, I won't. And I was with her for 4 years.
I thought you were going to say it now. Excuse me, wife.
No. My wife, no. My wife is this. My wife, I don't feel sorry for my wife at all because she doesn't seem to feel sorry for me when she bullies me. So,
Jesus.
No, she's a great
podcast
woman.
went left.
I'm only joking. I love my wife, but yeah, that girlfriend I didn't like. But my ma saying stuck me with her for a lot of years. So yeah, so I feel sorry for people. So I always felt sorry for Michael Cole and Kevin Kelly, and I bought a DX video cassette tape in 1997 or 1998 or whatever year it was, 98, and they were wedging Michael Cole in the shower, something really bad, like really terrible, like, And I just thought, like, leave that little chap alone.
Yeah.
Like, go and wedgie Farouk or something. You know, someone that can fight back, you know?
Wedgie someone your own size, DX.
Go wedgie Farouk.
Yeah, go wedgie.
Farouk Assad can be wedgied. Michael Cole doesn't need to be wedgied. There's no point. Poor man. Yeah, but yeah, that started with talking about Kevin Kelly doing New Japan.
Yeah.
New Japan?
New Japan, he does.
Yeah, is All Japan still a thing?
It is. It's not as much of a thing, but it is still a thing. It exists.
Okay,
they exist,
there
and they
go.
do. They're quite good by all accounts. I'm a New Japan guy.
I just remember watching I watched Vader in All Japan.
Yeah,
but and
he's not still a thing.
It's not Vader time anymore.
Oh,
but yeah, no.
But he
I like Vader. I like Vader's nostalgic. I like Vader.
Yeah,
I saw Vader win the WCW belt in the Point Depot, which is now the O2/3/4
Jesus
3 Arena, in 1993.
Yeah,
he beat Sting on a house show over it, and Sting won it back then in England. I know my 90s shit. That's
Holy
what's gonna
shit.
like. People are gonna be like, this lad's a geek.
Yeah,
because I know some random shit. Like if this was a subject in school, I would have aced it. Like,
yeah.
I you know,
they need to get that in the Leaving Cert curriculum.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah, for the likes of us out there. I don't know what I qualify it for.
Well, I would have done a lot better on that than I did on maths. So, like, I could have made something of myself.
Yeah. I don't know what wrestling knowledge would qualify you for, except maybe you can be a future podcast host.
But it's crazy, isn't it? Like, it's like wrestling knowledge and knowledge of, like, stuff that's just nerdy. Like,
yeah.
Like, people are so into Star Wars.
Yeah.
They love it. Like, so they're so knowledgeable about it. Like, and I know people, like, I always thought that I was the most knowledgeable person about wrestling. To the point where when I first started going out with my now wife, then girlfriend or whatever, she was like, I'm going to quiz you on wrestling. Cause she doesn't know what wrestling is. She remembers Hulk Hogan and that's it.
She's a muggle.
Yeah. But she was like, I'm going to Google quizzes and quiz you and see how good you are. I was like, yeah, bring it on, bitch. And she would sit there and quiz me, and she hates me now because we're married and, you know. Yeah. But, like, you know, back then she liked me, and she was like, wow, like, you actually are, like, a proper nerd about this wrestling. Like, you know every answer to every question, like.
But was it, like, a fair quiz? Was it, like, you know, Joe.ie type quiz where it's like, who's this guy? It's Hulk Hogan.
No, this was, like, you know, what colour was the background of the Intercontinental Belt when the Warrior wore it? Like, that sort of crazy stuff. Like, yeah, there were some good questions. Like, and I get them all pretty much correct. Right. I think. And if I didn't get them right, I knew I got them wrong and then went, no way. But she'd go, nah, I have to take your first answer. So that's how we spent our early courtship, by the way.
Jesus, that's a romantic tale. If
we hadn't a pot to piss in.
Love is. Random wrestling quizzes, apparently.
But yeah, so that's why I've decided to come here and talk about 90s wrestling. So let's just delve into a bit of 1999.
Let's do this.
Like, what we might do going forward is we might say we're going to watch a certain show.
Yeah.
Much like the rich people in America, Conrad Thompson and Bruce Pritchard might do. And then if anyone wants to watch it and then hear us discuss it the following week or 2 weeks later, then maybe we'll do that. But we'll do that at the end. But I'd like to do it as a roulette. Like, I'd like to do it random. Yeah.
Just dip in and out a certain.
Just dip in. Like, if it comes up that we're gonna, like, we all have the wrestling network. We all have WWE network. So like, we could like delve into, like, let's pick a year and then pick a month and then pick, you know, and if it somehow do it, I don't know how we're going to do it, like, but we'll do it randomly. Like, if we end up watching Raw number 127, then that's what we'll watch. And if it's Slash Funk and Al Snow in the main event, then that's what we have to do.
This is the cross we bear.
This is it, like. And that could be great, like. Flash Funk and I say Al Snow, but let's call him by his 1996 name, which was.
Oh,
hit me with it. Come on, Rick.
Oh, no.
You can do it.
You've caught me. No.
What do you pull off a tree?
A branch?
No. If you're a prick. Those things are alive.
I don't know. What do you pull off a tree?
What do you pull off a branch then?
A leaf.
There you go.
He was a leaf.
He was Leaf Cassidy.
Leaf Cassidy. Fuck, yeah.
Member of the New Rockers. Jesus. Underrated tag team of 1996.
We have to get you to come in and help us with our table quizzes.
Look, I done a table quiz with Justy. And he said, you're going to be our fucking king. You're going to win this for us. And I was like, yeah, I will. Yeah, okay, let's go. everything was 2001 onwards. I hadn't a clue what was going on. Well, I hadn't a clue.
That's not fair.
It was in the right to censor. The right to what? I don't
Ageist.
understand what that is. Yeah, like I don't get it.
We had wrestling people who get into wrestling, they are the biggest nerds. I remember we did a table quiz before, and it was like it was a special night with Fight Factory, and the Fight Factory had 3 tables, and then the rest were just regular punters. And the top 3 people in the quiz, which was unfair because the tickets was free, the prize was free tickets for Fight Factory, where the Fight Factory roster 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, we are the biggest nerds. We devoted part of our life to it.
That's I think that like people that are this into wrestling, they like had some trouble as a child or something.
Yeah.
Like, they had some sort of like maybe their man dad didn't get along, or because I know that like I escaped my life by watching wrestling. Like that helped me stay sane as a child.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think a lot of it was like, the chaos of the real world. Wrestling kind of provided an antidote to that. Like even if we're Steve Austin telling the world to fuck itself, that tapped into a way that we felt
absolutely
as people at that time.
I think as a young kid, like I loved wrestling as a 7-year-old, but like then as life started to get a bit harder the older you get. I think like as a young kid, like I just delved into wrestling, like, and I would watch it through the bad years, but I loved it, like, and the bad years, I suppose the bad years would be considered 95, 94. Would they be considered bad years?
Yeah, I'd say in WWF anyway, 94 to 97 would be like the dark old
dodgy
years.
Yeah, like Men in a Mission running around,
like winning all the belts.
But I think back fondly of them. Like as a child, I was eating what they were feeding me. Like if they were feeding me Doink or Bastion Booger, that was good with me.
Oh,
Men in a Mission, I'll take them. Those lads must be cool.
My first wrestling memory is Bob Holly and the 1-2-3 Kid winning the tag team titles.
Royal Rumble 95 off Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka.
Yeah, and being
absolutely
freaking out for it because I was a big 1-2-3 Kid. Well, obviously I was. Like, and then I grew up and I'm like, Xbox, I don't know about it. He can't work. But then it's like,
I can work.
This shit, like, it gets into it, like, and when you're a kid, you don't question it either. You're just like, this is what's Vince McMahon said. This is what's right, so it's right.
See, if Dean Douglas came out, Shane Douglas. If Dean Douglas came out, that's who I was watching.
Yeah,
I wasn't turning off for anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
No boycotting in those days.
And that's just some of my fondest memories because that was the time when. That was like 95. So what would I have been, like 10, 11? Like that was like. They're my fondest memories of wrestling. Probably. Yeah. I think I loved 1997 because I started to understand what was going on then. And I started to like read a bit about the backstage stuff and the politics of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like right before that, 95 was like, that's a pleasant year for me.
Yeah.
Like I bought into LT and Bam Bam.
Yeah.
Gonna be a slam jam.
Yeah.
Tattoo head. I can take back what he said. WrestleMania 11.
Ah, nice.
That got me like.
Can you think of like the pay-per-views from a certain era? Like it would probably 95 for you then, but do you have like this photographic memory where it's like pay-per-view in January it was this, in February it was this, and
yeah, like I think 1995. I think the in-ring stuff. You watch that in-ring stuff back now. In 1995, that was some good stuff because they had some good workers then. Like, so they had like, and that was, I think that was the year where they started to do the monthly pay-per-views.
Right.
The big 5, and then they stuck in your house in wherever there was a gap.
Yeah.
So them in your houses were only 2 hours long. They were really good. Now, of course, you had your main events that won't live up. Like it's Sid and Diesel, I think was the first 2.
Oh yeah.
But you had like Shawn Michaels and Jeff Jarrett, I think, on the second one. That's a great fucking match. Like you'd smoking guns. Them lads are good workers. Razor Ramon, 1-2-3 Kid, all them guys, like they were all young in their prime at that stage. So I challenge people to go back and look at some of those, in particular in your houses, because they were short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah,
and they were some good matches. And I don't know, I think Kevin Nash gets a bad rap as well. I think that lad was, if he was in there with the right person, he was fucking super. Like
and the charisma as well speaks for itself. But like it's what I find as well is when you go back and you watch it, and we don't do them as often as we used to, but we used to do a thing called tweetathons where it's like we all pick a pay-per-view and we live tweet it. We all agree we'll watch it at 8:00, press play, and then we tweet along as if it's happening live. And the things that get you the most nostalgic are like not the shit bits necessarily, because there's matches that are just like, this is like 8 minutes of my life, but like the little nostalgic bits, like you know about the main events, you've seen the main events and a million times and rewatched them, but it's the little like characters that you forgot existed. The fucking Sean Stasiaks of these worlds, you know what I mean? When he was meat with PMS in 1999, like it's that kind of little thing that makes you go, oh fuck!
You forget and you go, like do you remember? Mosh from the Headbangers became Chaz.
I only watched that the other day when he like literally because I'm watching like 20 years ago. It's mad.
So it's like all that stuff is like it's all so that's where the nostalgia kicks in, because that's what it is. You remember the big stuff, as you said. When you go back and look at some of this stuff and you go, oh, that brings back memories.
Yeah,
you know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And at my stage of life, I need that. I need that shit. You know, like I need to sit there and like just go back to stuff that I think it's important for your mental health. Like when you were a kid, like whatever you loved as a kid, if you go back and watch it now, it just brings back that feeling like of when you were a kid, and that was your only worry. Like Back to the Future is a huge part of my childhood. All these like films, at Home Alone, all these films like when you were a kid, I watched them at Christmas, like because they're my memories. Like I'll sit there every year and watch Back to the Future.
It's part of who you are, like, you know, to formulate you as a person.
I think so,
yeah, 100%.
And wrestling is a thing that, like, I'm still involved in. All because one day I put on the TV to watch a program that I watched with my dad on Friday nights. So I was allowed to stay up, and we watched the program on Sky. It was probably just Sky back then. It probably wasn't even Sky One. It was probably just fucking Sky.
The Sky Channel.
Yeah. Like, and wrestling came on instead of this program, and the first person I ever saw was Macho King Randy Savage, to the point where I never knew he was Macho Man. It took me years to understand. Before he was the King, he was the Macho Man. And that was like summer of 1990. That was just after WrestleMania 6. So I wasn't around for the big WrestleMania 6 build-up with Hogan and Warrior.
Right.
But I relived it later in life.
And
I'll relive it now. If you challenge me to, like, say that's some good
probably
shit,
will on an episode.
It's so good. But like that was just after that, and that's when I first saw it, and I was like, what the fuck is this coming on the TV now? Like, we're not meant to be watching this. We're meant to be watching Riptide that we used to watch on a Friday night. And that was it. I think it was like a Saturday night's main event that was shown a week later here, and that's how I ended up watching and loving wrestling, and that I fell in love with it. I remember being afraid of Demolition. I was afraid of the Warrior. And I just fell in love with it. Like, it was just so good. Like, and that was it. Now looking back, and still to this day, I don't watch Raw anymore. But I still watch the top 10 moments. It takes a minute, so like that's okay. So let's delve into this, Rick. So let me ask you a little question. Like, this is like just before we delve into the topic, and the topic today is going to be the first quarter of 1999. So we're just going to talk about, you know, the lead up to the Royal Rumble. Then we had In Your House, and then we had WrestleMania 15. And WrestleMania 15 was where we're going to cut it off, because otherwise we'd be here all day and all night. So we're just going to talk briefly about that. But first of all, like, when I say to you, today's WWE versus 1999's WWF, what do you see as the main differences, and like positive or negative? Like, because I think there is positive changes in wrestling, and you have to watch Raw every week, and probably SmackDown every week, and God forbid 205, all that stuff. You watch all that stuff?
We break it out between the three of us. We try and spread it out so no one has to watch everything. But I'd still watch Raw every single week.
So you watch Raw every week, start to finish, 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a big difference. It's long.
It's long.
Because 3 hours, and that's the thing you get when you look back at the 99 stuff on the network. You're like, it breezes by.
It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They cut out the ads an hour and a half.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, it's gone before you know it, and you just want more of everything. And also, when you look back, you see, straight away, you see starting shows with pyro, the signs in the crowd. Everyone coming out is like getting massive reactions.
Everyone's a star.
Yeah, every single person, even no matter how mental it is. The mad thing, the similarities that I look back on when I've been watching stuff for this, and I'm trying to watch like stuff that happened 20 years ago, because 99 is 20 years ago now. I'm trying to watch, like, keep up with it in terms of the calendar, like. But now that I'm looking back, now that they brought back the 24/7 and stuff, I'm noticing that a lot of product is actually the same, but people's reactions to it are. Like, if a lot of the stuff happened that they did then, today, people would go mental over it. Like, and it's like, it makes no sense, it's this, it's that.
Yeah.
But, like, we're just, I think, used to it now. We've seen it for 20 years that we're used to it. But a lot of, like, I wouldn't necessarily say that the content is better or worse, but everything is more over, everything is getting reactions, and everything clicks in a way that maybe it doesn't today.
Yeah, I think it's wrestling at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's the same to a point, because we're talking about 99, so like we're talking about, like, it's still in a ring, still got red rope, still called Raw, still wrestling at the end of the day, and you know, Kane is still there.
Yeah, yeah, he always will be.
It's so different in another way, because it's like, from watching, like, in preparation for this, like, I went back and watched the first Raw of 1999, which was January 4th, 1999.
Nice.
Which is a famous night, because that was the night that WCW gave away the ending to Raw and everyone switched over.
Of course.
So it was better. It was just better back then. And it's questionable in a lot of ways. Like, people could argue the point that, today's in-ring is better. Yeah, it probably is better. Like, everybody on the Raw roster now is, you know, you could say everyone's a good worker there now. Back then, maybe the Godfather wasn't the best worker in the world, but, like, it didn't fucking matter, because 9 times out of 10 he offered some hose to some people and they took it, so he didn't have to work. And it was the point where it didn't really matter how good or bad people were, because you cared about the outcome of the match. I don't think that's there anymore. I don't think people care as much, and that's a lot to do with 50-50 booking.
Yeah,
and
know? there's so much of it that, like, Stone Cold could, like, go unbeaten throughout the entire year and it wouldn't be a problem, because he's just wrestling once a week. Not even once a week, he's appearing once a week on Raw, maybe wrestling 15 times on television a year. So you could easily have him go unbeaten throughout the entire year, whereas they've so much time that they need to fill these days that you have to have people lose and you have to dilute people to a certain amount, whereas then it's like it was so effective because you only had 2 hours a week and that was all that mattered.
That's it. And it seems like now that they like to box the show off in a way. Like, they like to bring, say, for argument's sake, they'll bring Brock Lesnar out at the start with Paul Heyman. They'll do a promo. They'll hype what they need to hype.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins will run down. You know, they'll have a stare down, whatever. And that's it then for the night. You don't see either of them again.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, they teased whatever they needed to tease at the start. And, you know, it kept you going till the end of the show, and that we will talk about that January 4th episode, because they teased something at the start and the payoff was at the end.
Yeah,
it kept you watching. Every you could kind of see where the commercial breaks were when you watch it back now on the network. Every commercial break left you going, hold on, what's going to happen after that? Like, it's like they don't have that anymore. I don't think they have that anymore. And matches are long now, and I don't care. Like, you don't need to see that. You don't need to see long matches all the time. Long matches are great if they're great. Yeah. But long matches every week, not so great. Yeah. People just want to tune into a pay-per-view for a long match. Yeah. You know, that's the TV is the build-up to the long match. That's what it always was.
Just the taster, like.
But now, as you said, they got 3 hours, so they got to fill that 3 hours, and it's, I don't know, for me, it's like, I do not want to watch a 20-minute match. Yeah. On TV. I want them to sell the 20-minute match on the pay-per-view to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
And that's what they used to do. Yeah. I think that's what they used to do.
And the matches were like 2-3 minutes, like on TV.
Some of them were. It's funny watching back. It's like,
there's nothing in them.
Watching back is funny. I watched that. Let's just talk briefly about that January 4th Raw, because that's what I started to watch. The start was really, really strong, and the end was really, really strong. But the whole show was a build-up. So they didn't announce the main event until maybe even more than halfway through the show, because it was all a story. That I like that. Yeah. Going into it, you didn't know what the main event was. That didn't matter back then. So, like, briefly, like what that show was it was the height of the corporation. The Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon with the Boss Man and Ken Shamrock and Kane and The Rock, and the Briscoe and Patterson. And Shawn Michaels was the commissioner. He had just turned babyface. He came out with DX at the start. It was such a great promo. And Shawn Michaels said the line, Vince McMahon, today or tonight I'm going to have a Stone Cold surprise for you. So everyone, Stone Cold's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't 2 hours later Stone Cold came. He, now I think Stone Cold would have come and gone, and that would be it.
Yeah.
Then you move on to the next thing, Whereas then it was very much teased, and it was teased throughout the night. Are we going to get Stone Cold? Are we going to get Stone Cold? By the time Stone Cold came out, you go back to that shot. That was the biggest pop I've ever seen. He came out at the end. It was like Mankind won the belt off The Rock, and Austin came out at the very end to help him. That's a pop.
Yeah.
And that was great. But the whole show was built around, it was Triple H versus Mankind for a spot in the Royal Rumble or something like that. And Mankind, he got Shane McMahon, and he was going to break his arm, and unless Vince McMahon gave him a title shot, and he got the title shot. And, you could be argued, like, holy fuck, like, that's a lot to happen in one show.
2 hours, especially.
And it was, like, and I think, like, but at that point, that's what they were going for. Yeah. Keep you watching, keep you watching, keep you watching. And they did. They kept, 99, I think, was probably the most highest rated year for WWF.
It's, Mick Foley talks about this in his book. It was, like, that show was the turning point in the wars. So they booked that way because they had to, because every segment was judged against WCW, so they had to learn what was doing it.
They needed to keep, and that particular, and this is where I go back to knowing far too much, that Raw was up against Nitro, and Raw was winning at that point, like, there was no question, but still it was a war. But I know far too much. Nitro was in the Georgia Dome that night, and they had advertised Hogan and Nash at the start of the show. It was the finger poke of doom. So, like, they were up against that night, and I think that was the mentality. Like, it's like, we're going to do everything that we can to keep people watching, and that's, I don't know. I think, like, the writers back then were Ed Ferreira and Russo, Vince Russo, who I think they get a bad rap, like, for some of the stuff that they done later in life, because at that point, like, they were making sure that every commercial had a cliffhanger. Yeah. So people would come back, and every show ended on a cliffhanger. And it was like, and even the other day watching that show back, like, I was like, I want to watch it next week. I don't want to watch next week's Raw. Yeah. I haven't even seen this week's Raw.
It's like, and that's the thing, like, I think what they had was an objective. They had, like, you have to keep people watching from segment to segment. You can't lose people at any stage when you write this show. Whereas now, what's the objective? It's like, we got 3 hours, fill it.
And it's, I don't know, I've heard, like, so many people say, like, oh, sure, now people don't watch TV anymore, they're watching. It's bullshit, like, if it's good. First of all, Raw is live TV. It should be must-see TV. Yeah. People still watch Game of Thrones, people still watch Walking Dead, like, all that stuff, all those big TV shows that are must-see TV. Millions of people tune into that. Millions of people should be tuning into Raw. It's live. Anything should be able to happen on it. It doesn't.
It doesn't have that feel that it had then, especially when you look back and you're like, there's something here that's not there now. Yeah,
the crowd don't give a fuck as much.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Tired.
They're tired, man. They've been there for this dark matches, main event tapings, and by the time the last match comes out,
there's Brock Lesnar.
The problem is, like, I don't know, everyone's a mid-carder these days. Would you agree with that? Like, there's no bona fide stars anymore. Apart from John Cena, like, and I don't know, like, you could argue certain people are bona fide stars, but they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Brock Lesnar gets in the ring with someone, do they fit? Do they look like this is a dream match? Yeah. And there's no one there to necessarily. Maybe Reigns, you might see him standing across from someone, and you're like, okay, maybe.
Roman Reigns is
a
star.
Yeah.
But he's misused.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's a star, like, and there are stars there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you talk about, like, you talk about AJ Styles.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, to me, is one of probably the best worker there, if you want to compare it to the likes of Shawn Michaels, but, like, he's still a mid-carder.
Yeah.
I don't see him as, like, he's not drawn.
Yeah.
The fans that'll upset people.
Yeah.
Because people love AJ Styles. People want AJ Styles in the main event, but, like, realistically, like, he's not really your main event guy. Kofi Kingston is not your main event guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way it's going. But for me, them people aren't main event guys.
Yeah, and you're not slating them. It's not their ability. It's
No,
it's the nature of the programming and the way it's gone, and like how things are. Like, it's not in terms of like they probably could be if they were given what Stone Cold was and like had a lot of the focus put on them like him. But they don't do that with people anymore. They spread out over everyone. So
yeah, I think it's a case where if you look, I don't know, you go way back to late 80s. They could sell out a show with Hulk Hogan versus the Genius.
Yeah.
They could sell out a show with Hulk Hogan, and they did sell out a show with Hulk Hogan versus Brother Love.
Yeah.
Brother Love's not a wrestler. Nobody cared what Brother Love could do in the ring. They just wanted to see that attraction. That's amazing, like. Obviously, you're not going to get that today. Like, no one's going to go and see John Cena versus Cathy Kelly. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be the same.
When you say it, I kind of no, I know what you mean.
You're sick. But like, you know, it's not this. You just don't have that same. I don't think fans have the same care for a character that they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. There isn't that care there, you know. It's kind of like a work rate thing for a lot of fans now. It's like, well, AJ Styles is a great worker. Yeah, but like, there's still 10,000 empty seats at the house show, so go figure that. Like, you know, like, it's what's missing. I'll tell you what's missing: characters, interest, care. You know, you're missing Brother Love. You're missing The Rock. You're missing You're missing all these people that did sell out wherever they went because people cared. Yeah, you could do it back then, but that's my rant about today's product.
Like this night in 1999, which they did.
Yeah, there you go. We won't talk about this period in 1999 ever, because this was around the time Owen Hart died, which was horrendous. Like,
that was not a good.
We'd skip that part.
Yeah,
but we will talk about. January, February, or March 1999. And we have a bit of crack along the way. Yeah. Because some horrific stuff happened as well when you look back on it. Like, when you look back now, like, some of the stuff was absolutely.
It doesn't hold up.
Some of the stuff was a bit like, holy like, don't do that. So look, the first thing that I noticed watching that January 4th episode was Shawn Michaels was the commissioner, and they were teasing him coming back, which leads me to believe that they just wanted him back. Like, he was out there, he was playing the part of the babyface commissioner versus the heel Vince McMahon, and they wanted him back. Like, do you remember around that time where obviously Michaels had been gone since WrestleMania 14, and this was leading into WrestleMania 15, and he was kind of a big part of the start of that show, and they wrote him out of it in an injury angle at that show, where the bad guys, the corporation, like, beat the shit out of him, really bad, and put his face through a windscreen, which was a bit much. Which, interestingly, they done years later, didn't they? When Triple H put his head through, that
was a callback, actually. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, for SummerSlam 2002, they done that same.
Yeah, that was perfect.
That same gimmick.
They finally actually answered. Who did it?
Who did it? That was the question, and that was the thing. And I watched that the other day, and it all came flooding back to me. Like, who did it? Yeah, who did that? Obviously, the corporation bad guys done it. Like, because the camera showed the big boss man and Kane attacking Shawn Michaels outside, but like, DX sent him out there with the wrong key to the car. I don't know if anyone remembers this, because we're talking like everyone saw. So basically, DX and Shawn Michaels are best friends. Yeah. Shawn Michaels is leaving to get a Stone Cold surprise for Vince McMahon. He goes out the door. Triple H hands him the key to the car. He goes outside. The key doesn't work. He goes to get back in. The door is locked. Corporation jump him. It's almost like DX sent him out there in cahoots with the corporation. But it was never really spoke about, because later that night DX had a big babyface that helped Mankind become champion. And it was, that was the... But it was like so obvious that DX did it, but then it was forgotten about. Maybe that's just a hole in the writing. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's just one of these things like where Shawn Michaels never got to find out. Imagine like the Stone Cold got run over investigation, and then the conclusion of that was, well, look.
Well,
There's nothing there. I
But
couldn't find
it was mentioned at least. This was never mentioned. So I don't know if it was like a thing where maybe they planned to do something and Shawn Michaels was too drunk to do it. I'd say that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But they never followed it up.
Maybe they were trying to like convince him to come back, and he was just like, lads, I'm retired. And then like they could just never, they started a storyline that they couldn't pay off, or it seems like a lot of the, when you watch back now and you're like, I went through a lot of stuff like highlight videos and stuff getting ready for this, and it's like you watch the Royal Rumble and then it's like Billy Gunn's fighting for the Intercontinental title, and then it's like he's the hardcore champion the next month, and then he's the European champion the next, you know, they kind of like, they were very ADHD. Like. It's
funny you mentioned Billy Gunn, because that was the thing. Like, I watched that episode and the following episode of Raw, and they were like going for Billy Gunn versus Ken Shamrock for the Intercontinental belt, and then I kind of skipped a bit, and then it was like, oh, he doesn't care anymore. He's now, you know, hardcore champion or whatever. But like,
I think that was just the way it was, because they're
they had to keep moving.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn could have wrestled Ken Shamrock on Heat for all we know, and that was the payoff. It was so fast, they had to keep going so fast, and that's because they were in competition, and that's what made it must see. You couldn't miss anything.
This is it.
So like now we look back and go, that was silly, but maybe it was like, oh well, we just missed it.
We went mad for it at the time. This is the thing, like we lived through it, and it was great.
It was fantastic.
But like you watch it now, and it's like, oh, that makes no sense, and it's like, oh wait, I was a child and I didn't know how to critically think, and B, I also like.
Well, hold on, like how old were you in 1999?
I would have been 12 at that stage.
Yeah, so I was a bit older. I was like 15, 16 at that stage. Like, so I knew a little bit more. From 97 on, I kind of had a good cop on as to what they were up to.
You were smart, like.
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't smart, but I was reading Power Slam.
Yeah,
so, like,
well,
you know, I knew enough to know that, like, I knew enough to know that, like, these guys are, I know what they're up to here. Like, I know what they're going for, and a little bit, you know, that was around the time maybe it started going wrong, because that was the time I started going, why are they putting this on Raw and not on the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
That's when you start to go...
And everything goes to shit.
Yeah, that's it. When you start to critique everything. Like, but still loving it. Like, but so... 99, January 4th, that was when Mankind won the belt. And awesome. Then they went into the Royal Rumble where The Rock smacked the shit out of him with a chair 10, 11 times. Yeah. What's your memories of that?
My last memory of that is Beyond the Mat. Do you remember when they focused in on that whole storyline?
Boom, 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 boom.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say. It was amazing, and like one of the best wrestling stories ever told was a story about a storyline in a company, but not by that company. It was Beyond the Mat. Like, that was fantastic. Made it seem so sadistic and crazy and stuff like that, and made you buy into it. By looking backstage at the real story, they made you buy into it so much more.
Exactly, yeah.
And like, you watch it now and you're like cringing with every single chair shot that The Rock is doing.
Even back then, I just remember, like, after around I loved the chair shot as much as the next shot back then, but like, I do remember watching it with my friend back then and thinking, after around the 4th or 5th, like, Jesus Christ, like, what's he doing? Like, what is this? What are we watching here? Like, this is not good. Like, there was too much back then.
Yeah.
But they were just pushing the envelope back then.
Yeah, and they didn't know as well. Like, they didn't know that we're breaking Mick Foley's brain irreparably here.
Mick Foley's all right now.
Yeah, he seems grand.
His brain's great.
He has to write his promos in his hands, but apart from that, like,
but look, the rest of him is, like, his body is bollocks.
Yeah.
But like, I need notes here today.
To be fair,
I didn't get hit with a chair 10 times.
It's an age thing, maybe.
By Dwayne Johnson, so.
But no,
Royal Rumble 99 was that event that was built around the Royal Rumble match, but Austin and Mankind stood out as the big deal of that show.
Yes.
Would you agree with that? Like, I always thought the Rumble match itself was a letdown. 99, I don't know if you remember it or not. I don't know if you watched it in preparation for this, but it was always a letdown for me, and I remember thinking that at the time as well, just because it was all about Austin McMahon, and they were number 1 and 2, but they couldn't stay in there the whole time, so they were all around the building, and I hate that shit.
Austin got taken. See, it was like a really good Raw storyline, but they took the Royal Rumble match away from us because of that. To get that,
that's exactly it.
Because it was really well done. That in isolation was really good. Because you remember Austin came back at the end and his music hit. Because like, what happened was McMahon got him out of the ring and the corporation beat the shit out of him. I think they were 1 and 2, weren't they? The corporation beat the shit out of him, and then they sent him off to hospital. And then at the end of the match, the ambulance comes back, and then
and it was a way to get them out of there, the two of them, like that you know, McMahon that couldn't work, like so.
And
it was
he's
like,
on commentary, I think, for the match.
He was on commentary for some of it, and it was like, it was a little bit like they kind of done it this year with Seth Rollins, where they did. Now they fans shit all over it now.
Yeah.
If you get taken out of Rumble,
and
then come back,
you
didn't win.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like that for me back then. It was like, nah, come on.
It makes you think about the rules too much, and then takes you out the moment.
It's a little bit like, this is a bit silly, like, Austin's gone. And it's like, you know, they like, just off topic, but on topic as well, like, they change their shit every year, like, as regards to who can eliminate somebody from the Royal Rumble, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just remember 96, Vader came in and eliminated like 6 lads, including Shawn Michaels, who won it. Vader got eliminated, came back in, eliminated a lot of guys. They just let all the guys back in. Whereas, like, perfect acceptable for Hulk Hogan to pull Sid over the rope 92.
That's the thing I was thinking.
Perfect acceptable for, like, you know, anybody to do that nowadays. Like, just depends on what they're... It's all fixed, though. You have to keep reminding yourself that, don't you?
Well, no, you do get that. Shit up. But also, no, like, if a movie does that, you hold it accountable. It's like the rules have to make sense within your world.
Well, that's it. Like, that's the thing about wrestling. Like, we all know it's bollocks, but it has to make sense.
Yeah, you've got commissioners, you've got GMs, you've got this, you've got that.
What are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Think about, like,
if the rules have to be the rules, and we have to know that, and like, so I don't mind people getting pissed off about that, because it's like, you feel that when you watch it, you're like confused. Even if you're like, all right, I'll forgive them, it still takes you out of the moment where you're like, and then you're like, wait a minute.
I want that to make sense to me, as ridiculous as it is. Like, you know, as ridiculous as it is to have a referee in a fake fight, I still want it to make sense to me. Like,
exactly,
it has to make sense. Continuation of stories is a huge thing. Like, has to make sense to me. That's why I'm still not 20 years there. I'm still not over. Why did Triple H send Shawn Michaels out to that car with the wrong key?
Give me fucking closure.
I just want to know why. Like, what? You know, like,
can you accept that?
I need a chat with Russo or something. Vince Russo needs to sit down and tell me, well, here's what we were gonna do.
Can you accept that Triple H is like 3 years later, like retroactively, like retrofit it in your head, where it's like Triple H is like, this trick has worked before. Shawn always falls for this one.
Shawn's a hero for getting put through a windscreen.
That's the payoff.
I'll get him with that. I'll get him again.
There you go. Stop falling for this.
All I need to do is a crotch chop, and then I can pedigree him.
And you know what? If they he just hadn't taken into account that by 2002 they had CCTV, technology had improved, and he would have got away with it again. He was still being best mates with Shawn Michaels the next week. They would have got away with it if not for this.
It was a strange one. I think the next time we saw Shawn Michaels after that was after the Royal Rumble, when I think McMahon came out and he was going to just give up his WrestleMania title shot and let The Rock have a night off.
Yes.
And Austin comes up on the screen and he's with Michaels, who's the commissioner, and Michael says, well, the rule book states, and they're looking for the rule book, but they can't find it because too many beer cans, because, you know, those guys love a beer. And that was the next time we saw Michaels, and he was at WrestleMania. He came out and done a skit at WrestleMania 15, but we're jumping ahead there.
I do want to talk about that, though, that whole situation. I do want to get into that later on.
The Shawn Michaels coming out at WrestleMania?
Just the entire thing. This special, I do want to get into
that.
I think we can go.
The WrestleMania 15 thing as a whole? Or?
Like the special ref and the way they set up that match.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Austin Rock matches are like my Bible in wrestling.
Yeah, okay.
And I think they messed around. But we'll save that.
Let's delve into that at the end. Let's save that. Let's put a cliffhanger on that now and go to commercial like they did back in the day. I do want to do a plug. Because like that's why I'm sitting here. Like, I need people to buy stuff from me. No Limit Wrestling is coming to the Moat Theatre in Nace on October 13th. Tickets are not on sale yet, but if you go to irishwrestlingtees.com, put it into your search bar, you'll be able to get half price tickets with no booking fee for a limited time only. So they're all general admission tickets. The building is small. You will be able to see everything and smell the wrestlers as they walk by you.
Clothes bags cost extra if you don't want to smell.
Nah, you gotta smell them. You know,
we'll make you.
You need to smell these people. So go to irishwrestlingtees.com. Get your tickets at half price now, or if you want to pay full price, you can hang on a couple of weeks and go to motheatre.com and pick your seats. all the seats are numbered. So if you book at half price, you get whatever number we give you.
Your plugs are so detailed.
Yeah, well, this is it. Like, I don't want someone buying 4 tickets and then buying 2 more for their mates, and their mates are in row 2,
right,
and they're in row 10. Like that, you're getting what you're getting. That's the end of it. But it's half price with no booking fees. So what do you want? It's going to be a great show. It's called Going for Gold. We're going to crown new tag team champions, and etc. etc. All the great stars of today's wrestling are on it, except for the main people that cost too much money. So you've got your Fabulous Nickies, but you do not have your Jordan Devlins.
Oh,
okay. That's plug number 1. Let's get back to
you're a pro at this.
1999.
One show in.
Yeah, well, wait till you see my lead into the T-shirt plug later on.
Oh shit!
Look out for it.
Oh,
it's coming.
I'll keep an eye.
So we have. Let me put my glasses on here so I can see. So we went into In Your House St. Valentine's Day Massacre with Austin McMahon in the cage.
Yeah.
Historic moment. First time Vince McMahon had an actual match. It was teased, nearly a year earlier. Austin McMahon on Raw. That was and again, my knowledge, my nerdiness is that was the first time Raw beat Nitro in the ratings in 83 weeks. So that was a groundbreaking thing. So that's when they must have known we've got something here with McMahon and Austin.
Yeah.
I always found it a little bit odd that I thought they were going to pay that off at a WrestleMania. I thought it was going to be like WrestleMania 15. We're going to pay that off.
Yeah.
But like it didn't matter. Like, but they maybe they thought, well, we get the In Your House buy rate up for this one.
Yeah.
Threw them in a cage. Vince McMahon comes out and pulls a blinder. Yeah.
Huh?
Like Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
What a maneuver! And all of a sudden he's dropping off the cage onto a table and almost crippling himself. His table didn't break properly.
That's the thing with Vince McMahon. Like, he's always like, he's not much, like, he can't move. And this is like, Austin jokes about this all the time. Like, he's the most awkward fucker ever. Yeah. But
even the way he walks is like, he's walking that way because he may trip. He's not walking that way he's not, that swag, like, no, he's watching himself. Like.
We saw him walk normally once. It was at that Royal Rumble where he tore about his quads. That's why he doesn't walk normally. That's why he walks that way.
Yeah.
But no, he's like, but he just gives it sucks. He's crazy. He throws everything he has into it, and he did well. Look, this match, I watched it recently, and it doesn't hold up, but like, it was. What you have to consider when you watch it is how much you wanted to see it. You wanted to see Austin McMahon come to blows, and this was the money match. Like you said, it was surprising at the time that it's not the WrestleMania main event, but you're like, I suppose.
In hindsight, it couldn't have been.
Yeah, at the belts, The Rock, that was the real thing. Fine, but it felt like it should have been the main event.
And it was the reason for the match was that like Austin was he for some reason. Because he came number 2nd in the Rumble, he had the right to, because McMahon forfeited his title shot. It was then Austin's by the rule book, but he was putting it on the line, so you cared. Like, it was like Austin needs to beat McMahon here to get the rest of me. You knew he was going to. Yeah, you knew what it was going to, but people were like, Vince McMahon is going to wrestle a match in a cage against Steve Austin. That was huge back then. Huge. Like, you couldn't have got anything bigger back then. There was nothing bigger on TV back then. That's mad when you think about it. Like, and they had some talent there at that stage. But that was the biggest match that they could have put on. Yeah. So that's
biggest face against the biggest heel, and like you're talking all timers.
And the guts of a year of hype as well. Like, that was built up over a year, non-stop. Yeah. You talk about The Rock and Cena done a year of hype. Not they do a year of hype. When The Rock was around. Yeah, he'd come in and they do a little skit, like. But there's Austin McMahon. That match was teased in April 1998 and didn't happen until February 1999, and it was every week. Yeah, that feud, that story was being built.
The show was about it.
Yeah, that was it. Like,
every show was about this. Yeah.
That was the main feud, and The Rock is blessed that he was in there with that as well. As good as The Rock was, like, the fact that they turned him heel at the end of '98 because he was face, like. Yeah. And they wouldn't do that today. Yeah. If The Rock was The Rock in 1998 and 2018, 19, they just keep him. Like, they're afraid to turn people heel. Like, they turned him heel, and it was the best thing that ever happened. They didn't give a fuck. Like, if it fucked up an appearance at a hospital or something, like, they turned him heel because that was the right thing to do at the time. Like, and he was the opponent for Austin. It was great.
And then 6 months later, like, he was so good at the job that when they needed him face again, it was just
turn
like,
face.
yeah, you can cheer him now. Yeah, we know you want it. He's class, but so go cheer.
Like McMahon turned face. Like it doesn't matter. Like you can turn. I always thought, like, in recent years, like if someone to say to me, like, who's a heel, like who's a heel that's just hated that you can put in with a baby face and get a baby face over, it would have been The Miz.
Yeah.
And now he's a face.
Yeah.
Anyone can be a face. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Like anyone can be a heel, anyone can be a face. I think the bigger the heel you are, the more chance you have of being a really good face later on. That happened with The Rock. Like, it's
very true.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's move on here because we're going a little bit long because we love talking about this shit, but people might not like listening. So let's just jump into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
This was a crazy time. It was so fast. Everything was so fast. Nothing really mattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, and WrestleMania 15, as you said, was like like everything that you thought going in was changed. Not so much in a good way. Like,
Yeah.
So Big Show came in at the end of In Your House with the cage.
Yep.
Big heel, big nasty heel. Vince McMahon's new muscle. I think they were teasing getting rid of Kane out of corporation for a long time, and in came Big Show. Big Show was to work Mick Foley, Mankind. Winner is the ref for the main event. Originally, it was always going to be Austin, Rock, Mankind, three-way.
Yeah.
But that was vetoed. The story has it Shawn Michaels came in, got in Austin's ear and said, you don't want Mankind in that match. You want it to be a singles. Looking back, probably been good with Mankind in the match.
Yeah, like, it's one of these tricky ones. Like, if we were watching, if this was the product today and with the fandom that's around today, people were going insane because it's like, when you watch back the story, it's Mankind is involved in that story, and they tried to get him involved with the whole special ref storyline. They wanted him out there for the finish, and he had to be because the big feud was Mankind against The Rock, and then Austin McMahon, and then they had to kind of mash those two things together and be like, oh, Austin Rock hate each other though. But I think he should have been in there. But then at the same time, if you don't have that, then Austin Rock is in the trilogy at WrestleMania, which is less perfect. So it's tough, but like, they went the way they went. I think to be honest, it's weird because this is the biggest wrestling show of the year. At the time, wrestling is more popular than any other time in existence. But I don't think they knew how to do WrestleManias then. I think they knew how to do Raws, and they were really good at that. But they messed around with this. And I've watched this show about 50 times. I had the VHS as a kid. This formulated what WrestleMania was in my mind until later years when they got good at it and they changed what it was. But they messed around with this. Like, the special guest referee storyline was stupid. A lot, like, Austin and Rock can have, like, perfect matches. My favourite match of theirs is 17. That's my favourite match of all time. They can have perfect matches together. They work so well together. They're the yin to the other's yang.
100%. But this was a good match.
It was a good match.
15,
But it was a good Raw main event because with all the three referees in it and doing constant ref bumps, and then Mankind runs down and Vince McMahon runs down. It's like, you don't need this. It's the two biggest names and talents.
I suppose what they were probably going for was, we need to, and you just said it, like, the feud was Austin McMahon. We need to end the show with Austin McMahon, and they did.
Yeah.
I always, I don't know if you ever listened to an interview with Vince Russo or anything. The whole thing was WrestleMania wasn't WrestleMania back then. It was just another pay-per-view. And that's what they were going for back then. And I suppose that it wasn't until later years, as you said, that they kind of made, well, this is WrestleMania. Let's make it a bigger deal. And it was the biggest pay-per-view of the year, but it wasn't what they morphed it into. So maybe it was just like, well, look, we need to somehow get to McMahon Austin at the end of this without it being a match. And they did. They got to that. But yeah, it was very much, I don't know, like, I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind it as much as you do. I like seeing if it makes sense. I like a run-in if it makes sense. And every run-in in that match made sense to me.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it. It's
You
just
do hate it.
I
heard you. You hate it, and that's been hot tag time machine.
I enjoy it for what it is, and I can look back and enjoy it because I've never known it any other way. But at the same time, I'm like, there's so like, especially the more you watch and the older you get, and the more you know about wrestling, you're like, there's so much faffing. Just let the two guys fight. Get my man involved in some way, yeah. But like, it's like two great wrestlers. Let them have a great wrestling match. You don't need to make like, it's not a segment of Raw. You don't need every 2 minutes something happens. You know what I mean? That changes the dynamic of it. You can just have a great match.
But I think in just to be devil's advocate on that one, it's like fans back then, they wanted to see McMahon.
Yeah.
They wanted to see Mankind. So adding them into that match, I fully agree with what you're saying, but at that point in time, putting those out there was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Given that particular time period, you know what I mean? Like,
see, at the same time, I'll say this, and this is me talking about like what with my fan hat on, which like what I want to see as a person, but also there's the style of business, and it's like, why is Vince McMahon a genius? And for me, he is because he realized that not everyone likes wrestling, but people will accept wrestling as a form of conflict resolution if you make an entertaining TV show.
Yeah.
And that's what he was good at, and that's what happened here, where it's like, yeah, they're wrestling, whatever about that, but like, you care about Austin and McMahon and Mankind and The Rock, and you're getting all of that.
Yeah.
And so it made sense for that fandom at that time, but I'm looking at it from, like, when I criticize it somewhat, I'm looking at it from the lens of being a guy who just wants to see Austin and Rock have a great match.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course. Yeah, and as you said, you can't please everybody all the time. And
of course.
But I think, judging by the product back then and the fan base back then, I do think that they were probably just sitting there going, well, we need Vince out there, we need Mankind out there. And they put them out there, and it kind of worked. There was a moment where Mankind came out and made the pin, and The Rock kicked out, and that's the crowd were so into it, and you just got to judge by crowd reaction. And they loved it, like, they loved every bit, and they wanted to see Austin McMahon at the end, and they got it, like.
True.
But WrestleMania 15, that wasn't all that happened at that show. There was two other things we're going to touch on. I'm going to leave the hanging of the Big Boss Man to last. Just briefly, they done a swerve. They done Triple H turning heel.
Yeah.
Which was done really well, I think. They had Triple H work Kane in the early on in the show, and he was working extra babyface. And I think China had joined the corporation, but she came out and rejoined DX. And they done a backstage interview where all DX were together and are back together, and everyone's happy. And then they done Shane McMahon versus X-Pac. And Triple H turns heel on X-Pac. And I watched the crowd, man. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah. They done that really well. Like, that was really, really well. Came out left field. Totally went the other way early in the show. That was a good heel turn. Like, nobody saw it coming.
It was fantastic. And, like, maybe the payoff to who set up. Maybe that was the payoff.
Maybe that's what it was.
Like,
I never said that, so I'm not going to...
You're not going to give them points for that. And also, as well, what I love about this is it set up my favourite tag team as a child, X-Pac and Kane.
Oh, yeah.
They were my guys as a kid. Do you remember when Kane like got on the mic when he did before he spoke and he got the voice recorder and Xbox like, we got 2 words for you, and he's like, suck it. That is like,
Kane.
I cried like as a kid when that happened because I'm
what
like,
a geek.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I was. I cried and I was girlfriendless. But that's I love all of that because it just all plays into each other, and then the story. Now it gets a bit messy afterwards, so try not to ask too much questions and just imagine that the rest of the storyline went perfectly, but that was one of the best things done on that WrestleMania. And that Shane McMahon X-Pac match, apart from Austin Rock, is probably the best match in the show. That was a really
that's
good
another
match.
thing that X-Pac has talked about going into that match. He was very much being a little baby about working Shane McMahon, didn't want to do it. And in like retrospect now, he's happy he did. It was a great spot to be on the card as well. Like, Shane McMahon was over.
It's still the same.
Didn't matter who he was. Didn't matter that he wasn't a worker. He was over.
It's still the exact same with Shane McMahon. People still moan about him being on the show, but then he has a match and it's class. He did the exact same.
No, he's only had a fistful of matches, but he's never had a bad match.
Yeah, he's great.
That's the thing
and it
about
always works. Like, and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
always give out beforehand.
Yeah,
Why is he in this? Okay, it was good. And it's like, just learn that he's
There you
good.
go, 'cause
Just accept that he's good.
The thing is about Shane McMahon is he's got charisma. Like, he's much better as a heel than a babyface.
Yeah.
He's got charisma. He's got like presence, and he delivers. Like, he does some stupid things. Like,
He was such a little shit back then as well. Though.
Oh, he
like,
was great
did
back
the
then.
spoiled kid so well.
Oh, so good.
Even the way he was on Sunday Night Heat as a commentator, and it was like, yeah, my dad did get me this job.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, oh, go fuck it.
And
You know what I mean?
it was at that show, WrestleMania 15, that the Mean Street Posse were in row 1.
Yes,
You know
love
what I mean?
it.
Like, that was
Love
good,
it.
that was some good stuff.
Best
like.
stable of all time. Fact.
Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, Mean Street Posse against the Shield. That's a dream match right there.
There you go.
I'd watch the
You heard
shit
it
out
here
of
first. Oh, fuck. And look, as we come to a close here, like, why, how, and why did they hang the Big Boss Man?
I don't think they know.
I reckon, like, I always remember as a kid thinking, as a kid, I was 15 or whatever, what the fuck are they doing putting Undertaker versus Big Boss Man in a Hell in a Cell after the last Hell in a Cell, which was Mankind getting thrown off the top? Like, why are they doing this? And I still don't know what they were thinking, but maybe they fucked up,
Yeah.
and then they thought, Jesus, we better do something at the very end of this to really, sell it. Like, so they decided, well, fuck it, we'll take Ray Trailer and we'll hang the bastard. What the fuck?
It was nuts.
What the
It's like, okay, the Undertaker's a big deal, but we don't have anything for him. And so let's give him a Hell in a Cell match. He's really good at them, and they'll be great. Who else do we not have?
We didn't talk about The Undertaker coming back in 1990 at around this time as the evil the Ministry. That was some good shit. That music was the best music he's ever had. I thought that was his best look.
I agree.
Him, the Acolytes, Midian.
When he wasn't actually
The Brood.
not that I don't like the dead man thing, but like when he wasn't actually dead, he was more just a cult figure. He was so much
He
more
was so
scary.
good. Yeah, this was his finest moment. This was the best Undertaker.
Yeah, he was badass.
The
He
music
was
was so cool. It was
a bit of rock in there.
yeah, so good. Don't do that.
Sorry.
No. But like it was so good, and he had the Acolytes looked a bit funny in their leather trousers and really tight tops. But sure, look, we let it go. But like, I don't know. I just they had something for everybody back then. Like Midian used to go around with an eyeball in his hand. That was his.
He was European champion at one stage.
He took it out of Shane McMahon's bag.
Yeah.
This was after they hadn't defended it, and Midian, they did a backstage segment, and Midian said, "Shane, my pants won't stay up. Do you mind if I take a belt out of your bag?" And that's how he became the European champion.
Oh,
That's
amazing.
good shit. I don't care.
It
There's
worked.
my wife ringing me. Let's not answer that. We'll ring her back in a moment, though.
She's not going to listen.
We're
is she?
wrapping up now. Nah, she hates wrestling and hates me. So
It's a bad combination.
yeah, it's terrible. But they hung. It was a good visual though before they hung the Big Boss Man, because the Brood, Edge, Gangrel, and Christian, they came down from the ceiling, Sting style.
Yeah.
Landed on the cage, broke the cage, and that's how they hung the. I forgot all about that, but that was a really good visual for.
So they went so awful within seconds after that.
Like, I just like I hadn't watched WrestleMania 50 in so long, like maybe even since it happened.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of watching back WrestleManias. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know why. Like, but I watched this one anyway the other day, and I just remember thinking, I'll be able to see now how they hung the Big Boss Man without killing him. I still can't see.
There's no.
How did they do it? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, did they have something underneath? No, they couldn't.
They didn't, and that's what the thing I watched back. They turned the lights out, and I thought, okay, now they're saving him.
Yeah,
they weren't. You can see that they weren't.
Holy
like
shit! Yeah,
that gets me. Like that.
He
still
hung.
To this day. Yeah, he hung. Yeah, still to this day, that gets me.
That's fucking. The magic is real, lads. The magic is real.
And they know sold it. Like,
yeah.
Like, to me, he's dead, but they know sold it. Like,
and now we've got the main event. Who's going to be the special guest referee?
I think the next thing was like, What a night it's been.
Wow, well, that was really something. Your work colleague is dead.
Yeah, like, they still do that to this day.
Like, his body is there. I'll always look back on that fondly, though, because, and it's in the recent years that I've started to do, because, funny story, a couple of years ago, some people may remember this, we had, because we do WrestleMania party as our big night of the year, we had a rival company came out, and they were being very aggressive against us and criticising us publicly, and said they're going to do a WrestleMania party. And then they put out a bit of promo with the big boss man.
Who was it?
Oh, no, I won't say.
Come on.
They don't exist anymore, I don't think.
Oh, so it was a wrestling company or a wrestling?
They were just they just were like trying to do low blows thing. They were literally just like low blows, Aldi low blows.
So it wasn't like a wrestling promotion.
No, it was no, it was no one we know. Like it was.
Okay,
I barely know who they are.
Okay,
like, but what is it? Yeah, and then they put out a picture of the big boss man hanging like, and they said, "Come hang with us and watch WrestleMania." And then they died straight away. Like everyone's just like, "No, don't make jokes about that." And that was the end of them.
They probably thought that'd be a really good idea. Like,
yeah,
that's a meme.
And it killed them. So someone died from that segment, and I'll always look back on it fondly as a result of that.
Yeah. Overall, I thought like WrestleMania 15 was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Like,
it's grand.
A lot of, I don't know, like a lot of thrown together stuff.
Yeah.
The hardcore stuff was you either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That was okay. What else was on that show? That's some random tag team title match. It was like Test and D'Lo Brown against Owen Hart, and Test and D'Lo won a battle royal by mistake or something earlier in the night, the free for all or whatever it's called.
The Butterbean
knocking out Bart Gunn. Yeah, that's the other thing. I didn't write that down. Why didn't I write that down? Yeah, that was the end. Bart Gunn. Man, that's it. That was a shame. That brawl for all was a horrendous idea that could have made Bart Gunn a main eventer.
Yeah.
Until Butterbean knocked him out.
Such a bad idea. Why did they think, let's just do this for real?
And you know, the funny thing is, like, they done nothing with Bart Gunn after that. But, like, if I was the booker and I'd fucked up royally and caused, I would have pushed him to the moon. I'd be, I feel so bad. You're going to SummerSlam as the champion. Like, you I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I made a smoking gun a boxer, and now your career's over.
And
like,
that was it.
That was terrible for Bart Gunn, because Billy Gunn was doing so well, and Bart Gunn could. This I feel sorry for people. Like. But I always thought that, man, that would have made him like. Because they had some awful stuff. Bart Gunn was in the new Midnight Express with Bob Holly.
Yeah,
it was like, oh man, that's it. Your career's dead. No, hang on a second. Hardcore Holly, get in there. Hardcore division, make yourself up. He done it. Bart Gunn, get in that brawl for all, win it. You could be the next big thing. They should have just left it at that.
Yeah.
They'd have left it at that and made him, but you're a wrestler again now. But your finisher is going to be a punch. But nah. See,
here's the thing. Do you think that they knew what they were doing? Because I heard that Dr. Death was supposed to win the Brawl for All, and then he didn't. And do you think that they knew, we'll put him in with Butterbean? And then they're like bigging him up, and they're like, yeah, you'll win. Oh man, Butterbean, he's not shit. You're going to win, and you're going to be a big star. But they knew, but he's going to knock him out in seconds.
You wouldn't know. Like, they're so weird. Like, you wouldn't know if they thought, like, they could be so arrogant. Oh, Bart Gunn knocked out Dr. Death, Bradshaw, and whoever else he knocked out. I don't know. Who else was in that? Dino Bravo, Savio, I don't know. Whoever he knocked out, obviously not Dino Bravo. That was a joke. But, like, he knocked them all out, and they might have been like, oh, let's bring in Butterbean and let him knock him out. Like, they wouldn't know. Like, they really fucked it up there. They really did. So, you know, that was WrestleMania 15 in a nutshell. Road Dogg was on it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Road Dogg.
He was the IC champ, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or was he hardcore?
He was, yeah. IC champ. He was in a 4-way. But, like, he's just one of them guys that amazes me that he was so popular.
Yeah.
That's a guy that looked like he was wearing a tracksuit and a t-shirt.
He's generally every indie wrestler from the noughties.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is, yeah. He wore a t-shirt well.
Yeah.
Speaking of t-shirts.
Hey!
If you wouldn't mind going on there to irishwrestlingtees.com and buying a t-shirt, that'd be great. It's by Heel Turn Apparel. That's our little wrestling apparel line, Heel Turn. We've got Heel Turn merchandise there, and as well as it's a little platform for Irish wrestlers to make a couple of pounds selling their t-shirts. what's up there at the moment? Not sure. Not sure when this is going out. Maybe a week.
2 weeks.
Oh shit! I'll get some. There is so much stuff up there right now. But yeah, basically what it is it's just a little platform where Irish wrestlers are able to sell their T-shirts online, and any support for all these hard-working guys and gals is much appreciated. We had a Katie Harvey T-shirt up there. We know she broke her elbows. What an idiot! I'll tell her that to her face. Breaking her elbows, both elbows. What a hassle. But yeah, we had the Katie Harvey T-shirt up there. We had the More Than Hype T-shirt up there. We have currently got the Lads from the Flats T-shirt up there. We might have the new Danny Butler Gimmick Stoner Dan T-shirt up there next week, which could be this week if you're listening to this now. So confused.
They could be listening in 6 months.
Yeah.
This is the thing with podcasts. They're there forever.
Probably our business. You're listening
Hopefully
in 6
not.
months.
No, this is it's turned.
If you're listening in 6 months, get like you've missed June, July, August, September. You've missed No Limit Wrestling going for gold on October 13th. We had can I talk about No Limit Wrestling for a minute?
Of course,
like
can.
You know,
it's your show.
It's not nostalgic. I do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's your show.
No Limit Wrestling. We had a show in March. We don't do many shows because there's too many shows. So we just say, well, let's just do a show a few times a year. Sunday afternoon wrestling. It's we don't take it too serious. It's funny. It's good. It's great. It's it is what it is.
Yeah.
As they say on Love Island. But yeah, it is good. It's good Sunday afternoon wrestling. It's for everyone. If you're 5, come and watch it. If you're 50, come and watch it. There's no cursing or anything like that. So bring the kids. But yeah, so the last show we crowned a champion, which was Darren Carney of More Than Hype fame. He's the new champion. Paul Tracy was the champion before him. We're going to crown tag team champions at the next show. We have, we've all the up and coming talent. It's a good platform for those guys as well to master their craft. So come and see Alexander Dean, Justy, Be Cool, some other people, LJ Cleary, Amy Alonzi. Yeah, so come out and see No Limit Wrestling in October. Go to motheatre.com for tickets soon, but they're not on sale just yet. So in the meantime, go to irishwrestlingtees.com. You can get half-price tickets there, as I've said already. So look, that's going to wrap it up here. Rick, we're going to wrap it up with the first ever Hot Tag Time Machine. It was an absolute mess of a show. I think it was, I don't know if it was good, if it was bad.
Mess.
Doesn't matter. The fact is, we've done it. We discussed 1999, January to March. Next time, I'll have another co-host, and we're going to discuss another time period. Not going to say what it is now, because I don't know. Depends on who was available on that particular day, but I've got a few people lined up, and we've got a few different topics to discuss. And, like any feedback would be much appreciated by everybody there on the Twitter machine or anything, MySpace or Bebo, whatever you're using these days. Throw some feedback there and tell us what you want to hear. Or if you don't want to hear me talk anymore, tell me that and I'll just keep talking. So
if people want to reach out to you in terms of like, don't.
Yeah, don't. I'm too busy. I don't want to hear from anyone. Just contact Rick.
Yeah, you can get in touch with hashtag
You can tell me what anyone wants. Look,
I'll give him a call on the house phone.
Let's do this, though. Let's do the social media thing. Facebook, we have irishwrestlingtees.com and No Limit Wrestling. They're my pages. Twitter is Irish Wrestling Tees. Somebody else runs an No Limit Wrestling Twitter. Same at Instagram. And my phone number is 086. We don't want the two people listening to ring me into my phone.
Oh, they will.
So that's going to be it. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. We're going to do this every second week. Jerry's Talk Nerdy with me is going to be every second week as well. So we're going to alternate between the two. And I think at some stage I'm going to have Jerry on with me as a co-host. We're going to discuss whatever Jerry wants to discuss. And we're going to do everything. We're going to go back and forth. It doesn't matter what it is. But like at some point I really, really, really want to talk about the heavenly bodies.
Oh yeah,
You know, like Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey, to me, is just, he should have been number one.
The great crime of, I think a lot of people feel that way. Like it's the missed opportunity of pro wrestling.
He should have slammed Yokozuna in 1993 instead of Lex Luger.
Yeah,
I've always thought it
would have been no Monday Night Wars, no nothing. It would have all been grand.
Would have been it. Like that's it.
Would have been grand.
And on that note, we leave it there. Rick, thanks for joining me. You were here, and if you weren't, I'd have had nobody to speak to. So God bless you for that. Mad. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, folks. Thank you very much. Over and out. What sort of like cool sign off could we have that's real 90s? Like, I have it.
What?
Okay. We're out of time. We'll see you next week, folks.